So one of the reasons why this is a really important topic for me to discuss is because I grew up in a strict religious Christian household, and this is brainwashing. You know, being subjected to religious dogma from growing up since birth is brainwashing, and brainwashing is everywhere, from your parents and society to the TV to culture to your smartphone. You're constantly being barraged by people trying to manipulate you and alter your ways of thinking. It's really important to be able to understand how easy it is to become brainwashed, and of course you don't know that you're brainwashed, because that's the whole point. If you knew you were brainwashed, it would not be successful brainwashing. So we're going to take a look at some examples of how easy it is to influence someone's opinion, just to really show how easy it is for someone to be altered by outside influence. And this is extremely important for a couple reasons. One, so that you can see how you must be completely and always and totally on guard for these forces that are trying to influence you, and also for the understanding why it's so important to spread information to try and get people to think logically and think critically, so that we can build a world that is based on creating a better place rather than just all these conditioning systems. But let's just jump right into it, because what I want to look at here, and this is what we're going to look at as an example. What we're going to look at as an example is this. So this really interesting article says, what happens when a group of Fox News viewers watch CNN for a month? A study that paid viewers of the right-wing cable network to switch shed light on the media's influence on people's views. So this is really interesting, because we're going to be talking about how the news influences people. Not only that, but how it influences people with regard to Fox and CNN. And I know I have a lot of viewers who are not from the United States or this culture or whatever. So if you don't know, Fox News is this very far right-wing propaganda. They just put all this bullshit that's just like completely false and completely inaccurate. Now, CNN is a little better. CNN. Now, I'm not saying CNN is perfect. I'm not saying that that there's no criticism for it. But CNN is like the exact opposite of Fox News, and it tends to be more accurate. Now, well, compared to Fox News, it's a lot more accurate. Now, I don't want to get into any debate of like whether CNN is good or not. That's not the point here. All news outlets are something that you need to question and do your own research, because especially in today's day and age, even news sites have to, and we're going to talk about this as well, are subject to this capitalist world, and they have to make very like clickbaity articles and things like this. And so that's not the point. I just want to make clear, I'm not saying that CNN is perfect or anything like that, but it's completely different from Fox. Like they're the complete opposite. Fox News is very right-wing and conservative, and then CNN tends to be a lot more liberal. So this is just going to show how easy it is to change someone's views, and also highlights the impact that the media news has on shifting a nation's perspective. So let's just start here. It says, and this is from The Guardian, watching Fox News can be like entering an alternative universe. It's a world where Vladimir Putin isn't actually that bad, but vaccines maybe, and where some unhinged right-wing figures are celebrated as heroes, but Anthony Fauci, America's top public health official, is an unrivaled villain. Given the steady stream of misinformation an avid Fox News consumer is subjected to, the viewers, predominantly elderly, white, and Donald Trump supporting, are sometimes written off as lost causes by Democrats and progressives. But according to a new study, there is still hope. So we're talking about now, Fox News is obviously extremely polarizing. It's watched by right-wing, conservative, Trump-supporting conspiracy theorists. Now, again, I want to make it very, very clear that I am not saying that I am a Democrat, or that I support, all like liberal agendas or anything like that. Okay, I'm not saying that. My views and Hyperianism is above this, dichotomy of conservative and liberal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're above these things. Okay, so it's kind of like when I say that I'm not a Christian, people automatically think that I'm an atheist. That's not the case. I'm not a Christian, but I'm also not an atheist. I know that I am God and we are God. So same thing here. I don't want this to get into a big debate about apparently me being this like liberal like Democrat or something. That's not the issue. We're looking at, the point of this video is to look at how easy it is to change people's views just by changing what media outlet that they are consuming. All right, so that's the point. All right, so I don't want to get into any of that stuff. Don't stop the commenting. I know you're probably commenting right now. Don't do it. That's not the point. So in an unusual and labor-intensive project, 2 political scientists paid a group of regular Fox News viewers to instead watch CNN for a month. So at the end of the period, the researchers found surprising results that some of the Fox News watchers had changed their minds on a range of key issues, including the US response to coronavirus and Democrats' attitude to police. And so this is really interesting because I think most people, if you ask most people, you know, you get a bunch of, you know, Fox News watching, Trump supporting people, and you ask, do you think that they would change their mind if they watched CNN for a month? I think most people would probably think, well, no, they're so, you know, radical and stuck in their ways. They're going to continue to just believe what they believe. So it's very interesting to see that the surprising results are that they did change their attitudes and minds on a range of issues. So the finding suggests that political perspectives can be changed, but also reveals the influence partisan media has on viewers' ideology. And I want you to take this, what we're talking about right now, we're talking about, you know, I wish this wasn't in the framework of politics, because this causes just so much distraction. Once again, please don't get distracted by that. Apply what this is saying right here to everything, including like religion, and just views on things like gender, and just so many different things that humanity is, or you know, depending on what culture you're from, whatever culture you're from, you are given a set of ways to believe, things to believe, ways to behave, etc. Whether that's from religion or school, society, culture, family, friends, TikTok, social media, whatever. You're being influenced a certain way. So this article is particularly about the news media and, you know, conservative versus liberal. But take the general idea here and apply it to everything. See how it applies to everything. Religion, you know, just like most people who are born into a religion, they stay with that their religion for the rest of their life, most people. And this is really important because what I talk about on my channel about religious trauma syndrome and being able to think logically, rationally, and critically. And this is to show how easy it is to brainwash someone. So polls have previously shown that viewers of Fox News, the most watched cable news channel in the US, is it really? I didn't know that. God, that's depressing. Are far more likely to believe the false claim that the 2020 presidential election was stolen than the average American, and they're more likely to believe falsehoods about COVID-19. The extent of the network's influence on American politics was highlighted this week with a report that Joe Biden has privately referred to Rupert Murdoch, the owner of Fox News, as the most dangerous man in the world and one of the most destructive forces in the United States. So, David Brookman and Joshua Kalla, political scientists at the University of California, Berkeley, and Yale, respectively, paid 304 regular Fox News viewers $15 an hour to instead watch up to 7 hours of CNN a week during the month of September 2020. So 7 hours of CNN a week, I mean, that's not even that much. So they're watching an hour a day. So they're paying them $15 an hour. So $15 a day if they're watching an hour a day. To watch an hour of CNN instead of Fox News. That's all they're doing. And so the switchers were then given quizzes, regular news quizzes, to make sure that they really were watching CNN, while a control group of Fox News viewers continued with their regular media diet. So they had a control group that just continued watching Fox News as usual, and then they had the test group, which was instead switched over to watching CNN for an hour instead of Fox. So much of the news cycle in September 2020 focused on policing and protests in Kenosha, Wisconsin, which began after Jacob Blake, a black man, was, I can't, because of algorithms, I don't want to say certain things, but was seriously injured in late August. During the protests, Kyle Rittenhouse, a teenager from Illinois, ended 2 men and wounded another. The events became a political tool for Republicans, including Donald Trump, who later announced he would send federal law enforcement agents to Kenosha. So by the end of September, the CNN watch. Okay, so this is really interesting. And so by the end of September, the CNN watchers were less likely to agree that it is an overreaction to go out and protest in response to the police shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Washington, and less likely to believe that if Joe Biden is elected president, we'll see many police get shot by Black Lives Matter activists, when compared with their peers who continued watching Fox News. So those who watched CNN were less likely to agree with these statements, those who continued to watch Fox with these very sort of radical claims. The CNN switchers were also, as Bloomberg Matthews Iglesias reports, so this is the CNN switchers, right? The ones who switched from Fox to CNN were 10 points less likely to believe that Joe Biden supporters were happy when police officers get shot. See, this is the kind of thing that like they report on Fox News, like the crazy things, like that Joe Biden supporters are happy when police officers get shot. Anyway, so obviously Fox is a vicious spreader of propaganda and just outright fabrication. So after switching, they were 10 points less likely to believe these things than those who continue to watch Fox News. In addition, the CNN viewers were 13 points less likely than the Fox News viewers to agree that if Joe Biden is elected president, we'll see many more police get shot by Black Lives Matter activists. So this is, and again, this is really important information, because I think that most people would think that these people who have these extreme views wouldn't change their minds. But it goes to show you, and this is just an hour a day. This is just an hour a day. For how long was it? I think a month. An hour a day for a month. And they're already, on these very radical claims, significantly having a change of attitude. That's only an hour a day for a month. Imagine, like when you grow up in Christianity, it's your life from birth every single day. It's not an hour a day for a month. It is immediately from when you're born, and as you grow up, when your left hemispheric functions are not even very well developed yet, so you have an inability to use logic and reason, and you're pumped full of this insane information and very psychologically damaging information, like a God is constantly watching you and reading your mind, and if you make this God angry by doing the smallest trivialities, you'll eventually be sent to hell to be tortured for eternity. Like, imagine the psychological damage that does. And again, this is from birth every single day, not even an hour, hours and hours and hours every day, depending on the extremity of the particular group that you grew up in. So in an email interview, Kala said that he and Brookman, the scientists, had not necessarily expected people's opinions to change. See, that was so surprising. They were surprised at these results. They didn't think that they would necessarily change. And this is a quote from the ones who ran the experiment. I think the most surprising finding is that shifting people's media diets from Fox to CNN for a month had an effect. People who watch cable news tend to be very politically engaged and have strong opinions about politics, limiting the impact of the media. Similarly, they also tend to be strong partisans who might not trust any source not associated with their party. So basically what they're saying is that they didn't even pick people who were neutral. They picked people who were most likely that had very strong opinions and very strong partisans who probably wouldn't trust the other news media source. So again, this isn't just picking some average person on the street. This is picking the person who consumes this media, distrusts the other source most likely, and is firmly entrenched in their beliefs and stance. And yet, just an hour a day for a month, these significant changes on key issues are prevalent. So the people in the experiment were overwhelmingly pro-Trump Republicans, given that Trump had spent much of his presidency bashing CNN. A regular chant at his rallies were CNN sucks. The results are particularly surprising. So this is almost like having a Christian stop reading the Bible and like attend the Satanist meetings for an hour a day just to show like the stark contrast of the distrust towards the alternative source. Like this is very, I hope you guys see that this is this is something very powerful to understand how easy and simple it is to alter someone's beliefs. So a lot of people, and this is another quote from the scientist heading the research, the partner, a lot of people might expect this audience to completely resist what CNN had to say, but we see people learning what CNN was reporting and changing their attitudes too. It is therefore surprising that watching CNN had any impact at all in this experiment. Fox News and liberal networks can influence their viewers through agenda setting, covering a certain topic relentlessly and framing by emphasizing certain aspects of an issue. So do you see these brainwashing effects and tactics being used? Agenda setting and framing, going over the same topic for a certain agenda again and again and again, and emphasizing certain facts via framing of an issue. So it's very, this type of thing is very important to understand. I just want to like really emphasize that, highlight it, underline it, because we're in a war of the mind. This is a war of ideas. And this is the sort of battlefield that we are on. And this is sort of the thing that we have to know and understand and know what we're up against and know the tactics that are being used by like religious groups, and not even consciously. It's not, some of them are conscious of it, but a lot of people don't, they really believe what they're teaching, but it nonetheless has the same effect. Kalla and Brookman were particularly interested in the third method of influencing, partisan coverage filtering, which they defined in the study as the process where partisan outlets selectively report information, leading viewers to learn a biased set of facts. So they're selectively reporting information, only certain portions of information, so that the viewers will learn these facts in a biased way. They gave a hypothetical example of how news channels might cover a war. In the example, CNN might cover the cost of the war and the number of military personnel and civilians who died. While, on the other hand, Fox News could focus on the severity of the threat that Trump's military campaign had countered and feature stories of liberated civilians welcoming American soldiers. So do you see how it's selective filtering, taking certain facts of this situation and emphasizing them while completely ignoring others? This leaves viewers of each network with different factual understandings of the conflict and subsequently different levels of support for the conflict and the president, Bookman and Kalla said. And this is another really important thing that I have to mention here when it comes to social media. When you are on social media, the algorithm learns what you like. It learns what you don't like. And so it is going to provide you with, it's going to put you in a bubble. So for example, if say like, because we're talking about politics, right? So use the example of say like a liberal and a conservative. A liberal person using social media is going to be constantly consuming liberal biased information. And the conservative is going to be consuming, constant conservative information that keeps emphasizing their beliefs. Each one is locked into their own bubble and not seeing the others, because the social media algorithm shows you what keeps you on the platform more. So if you start unfriending people that are conservatives, or you get angry and you close your phone when you see conservative like data, so the algorithms will know that and it'll stop recommending that to you. So everyone lives in their own. This is what's very dangerous about algorithms, is that they divide people because they put people all in their separate bubbles, and they're completely unaware of other people's like opinions and perspectives or whatever. And this is why I rarely use Facebook, but what I used to do on Facebook is I would stay friends with people that I had the opposite views of and disagreed with very much, but I would stay friends so that I could see their posts and see what was going on the other side, so I could keep information. And that's what's really important too, all right? You have to look at information from all points of view, like what's going on right now. Don't just focus on news that's being presented to you from your country. Look at news from other countries. Look at what the news is saying in the opposing country. Look at all these different areas and, use logic and reason to get a big picture of what's happening. Don't believe what A is saying or what B are saying or what C is saying or what D is saying. See what A, B, C, and D are saying, and then use logic and reason to get a picture of what's really going on. Because all these places have their own agendas that they're trying to shove onto you and to get you to believe. Now, also, I want to mention something right here because I feel like a lot of people who probably don't like me and but still watch my channel for some reason are like, well, that's exactly what you're doing. Here's the thing. This is what I always tell people. I do not want you to believe what I say because I am telling you to believe it. I want you to listen to what I say and then use logic and reason to judge for yourself if it is rational or not. And if it is rational, then that is something that you should consider for being true, because that is what determines what is true is reason. And I also constantly tell people that they, what should they study? I constantly recommend to people that they study philosophy, like philosophy 101 classes, etc., so that they learn to think for themselves, that they learn to use logic and reason. And so that's the difference with like Hyperianism and what goes on this channel. I am not telling you what to believe. Hyperianism isn't a system to tell you what to believe. Hyperianism is a system to give you the tools that you need to be able to think for yourself and become an actualized being. So once again, I want to make that very clear. Do not believe what I say just because I say it. Believe what I say when you use logic and reason, and if you see that it matches with what is rationally true. That's really important. Again, I don't care like if an angel tells you something, or a God tells you something, or someone in a lab coat tells you something, or a preacher tells you something, or I don't care who it is, what it is. Logic and reason, use it to see what they're saying, examine it if it's true. Right? If I had some immaculate vision right now and some powerful being descended and told me something, I'm not just going to blindly believe it. That's just that would be religious thinking. I don't care who or what is saying something. Always examine it with logic and reason. That's how you become a free thinker. And that doesn't mean disagree with everything, because that's not being free thinking either. If something is logical and rational, then you should believe it and integrate it because it has been proven to be rationally true. Anyway, I wanted to point that out. So while the study proved that people are susceptible, at least under the right conditions, to different political opinions, in the longer term, the skewing of media has had a broader and negative impact on the way the U.S. functions, Kala said. When politicians do something bad, we hope that voters will punish them, regardless of their party. Otherwise, politicians won't work hard to make our lives better in order to keep their jobs. However, this type of behavior becomes less possible if the media engages in partisan coverage filtering. If CNN doesn't cover bad things Democrats do, or good things Republicans do, and if Fox News doesn't cover bad things Republicans do or good things Democrats do, then voters become less likely to learn this information and less able to hold their elected officials accountable. This is troubling for the functioning of a healthy democracy. And this is exactly right and is incredibly important. And this is what's important in a world that we want to believe, to build. We want to build a world in which, so you see what's happening right now is you have these different outlets that have an agenda that are giving you bias filtered information that is filtered from a biased standpoint with an agenda to get you believe in a certain way. Just like they say that if CNN will cover, they won't cover bad things Democrats do, and they won't cover good things Republicans do. And likewise, Fox News won't cover bad things Republicans do, and they won't cover good things Democrats do. So you're getting this biased, filtered information that's giving you a completely unrealistic, false version of reality. You're being trapped in a false reality tunnel. So in a new Hyperion world, what we want to do is present the data as it actually is, and then give you the tools, make sure every citizen is educated in how to use logic and reason so that they can make informed decision based on the actual factual data. Not only that, in Hyperionism, in a new world, we want to encourage countering points of views as long as it's always underlined with reason, right? Not just completely random insanity or conspiracy, but as long as it's founded on reason. We want to encourage both points of views, because that's how the dialectic works. The dialectic is when opposite views come together, and then ultimately a higher third idea comes from the synthesis. So if you just have one viewpoint all the time, you're not going to have any progress. So not only in Hyperionism do we want to have all the factual data presented in an objective way and an unbiased way, but we want to also make sure that the counter position is allowed to have a voice. Again, as long as it's not, you know, something like totally crazy and irrational that's conspiracy and just damages society. As long as it's grounded in reason, you want to have both the thesis and the antithesis to be able to have their ground in order for the higher synthesis to evolve. And that's it's kind of like a society where revolution is built into the system, not like a violent revolution, not at all. But when it comes to ideas, right? A clash of ideas to form higher and higher ideas, because we can create a society where there is no more physical violence. We leave physical violence can be totally left behind, and then we're in the area where we're just having ideas clash, and then no more war, no more bloodshed, no more any of this. The only casualties in such a world are bad ideas. And that's how we create a better world, where bad ideas are the only things that die, and good prosperous things are allowed to flourish. And the main point that I want to get across today is how, when you look at this, when you take a look at these extreme examples, and this was only done for a month, only for 1 hour a day, how easy it is to change someone's perspective. Now, this is incredibly important to what we're doing here today, because as I say, we are in a war of the mind. This is a war of ideas. And as Victor Hugo said, there is nothing can stop an idea whose time has come. And we are that idea. And what we need to do is make sure that we spread information about logic and reason so we can get humanity to begin to think rationally and bring humanity to a new form of awareness, hyper awareness. Now, of course, we're not going to be able to get all humans to do this all at once or even in a short amount of time, because the world is in the dreadful state, but we at least want to do so and set up Hyperion universities and education systems so that we can have the leaders of tomorrow, the ones who are going to help lead us into a new world and build a new world in the future generations, but beginning today in starting the foundations and spreading this information and building that. We want to make sure that the information, logic and reason, the ability to understand how to think, the ability to have the big picture of what this world is, the ability to apply metacognition and concept networking, the ability to understand the point of view of what it is like to be another one, to include compassion into the system as well, in addition to justice and care and ethics and teleology. All of this is incredibly important. And I'm getting a little off topic, a little off track, but main takeaway: see how easy it is, how simple it is for someone to be brainwashed. If it just takes, an hour a day for a month. And then look at all the damage that religion does. Children from birth, subjecting them to tortuous ideas, like that they'll burn in hell for eternity because of this mind-reading monster that's constantly monitoring them and their thoughts. Like, imagine how fucked up that is. I know a lot of people on my channel have RTS, religious trauma syndrome, and religion is not benign. There are some forward-thinking versions of it that are less damaging, but ultimately they are all damaging. And the ones that are literalist and it's a lot more than you think. Most people think that people don't believe these things or take these things seriously. Way more than you think do. It's that you just don't see it because you're trapped in that bubble, that algorithm that on your phone, on social media, all that. You don't see what's going on. You don't see the damage that's being done. You don't know about the insanity, because you're stuck in your bubble. And I don't mean you specifically watching this, but the hypothetical you that is out there. They're stuck in their bottle of like namaste and yoga and chakras, and they're just constantly surrounding themselves with love and light, and they don't see the horrendous damage that is being done by like fundamentalist religion and so much more. So make sure that you are guarding your mind. Always be on guard. Always use logic and reason for people trying to influence you, people trying to mess with you, and think about how we can strive to build a new world where information is not something that is given in a biased way to try and brainwash a population, but rather where information is given so that we can increase the quality of life for every individual. That's the world that we want to have. We want to have algorithms designed to not try and Like, that's another thing. Capitalism. I'm going off on a rant here, but capitalism too, even when it comes to the news sources, they have to write clickbaity titles that aren't necessarily right, because they are also, the way they survive is by how many people click on their titles and how long people continue to read their article. So they have to make clickbaity titles that are lies or very or very false, and they have to make sure that their article is engaging enough, interesting enough, fun enough for you to keep reading. So this capitalist world forces the news, which is already pretty messed up, to even be worse. And we all, have to, like, I have to write titles sometimes that are what some might say are clickbaity, to try and spread the information that we're trying to spread, because the algorithm is now designed to only show these titles that get clicks, which is very frustrating. But this is the capitalist world we live in, and this is the sort of arena that we are in this war of the mind. We always have to realize this is a war of the mind. That's not an exaggeration. That's not hyperbole. It's a war of ideas. It's a war of thought. What I mean by that is, remember, again, we're very opposed, we're opposed to violence. We're opposed to doing anything illegal. We're very opposed to all those things. But when it comes to ideas, there are, like, religions propagating their ideas, political systems propagating their ideas, all trying to suck you in, change you, and transform you according to their agendas, whether it's being, a servant or a slave to a god in the sky. I mean, like, Islam literally means submission, or, the capitalist oligarchs who just want you to be a consumer and a worker, constantly, for them, a carpet for them to walk all over you. It's a mess. And the main thing that I'm trying to get across here is that everyone is in these little bubbles, these algorithmic bubbles that are designed to just keep you addicted to your phone, keep that dopamine flowing, so you go for that next hit, so that you'll keep watching that ad, and you'll make the rich a little richer, and you'll keep scrolling so that you'll click on that mobile game so that they'll get their 15 cents or whatever the fuck it is. And this is this is a blind world. We could design a world where algorithms are designed to give you the best quality of life possible. Imagine an algorithm that's not feeding you shit just to pump you full of addiction neurotransmitters, but rather is designed to give you the best possible life. And that doesn't mean something boring. It means to give you, tell you about what's going on, show you how you can better yourself, what's going on all over the world, like everything that you need to be able to increase your. That's the thing too. Like, I can't even articulate what it would be, because you know how precise algorithms are. Algorithms are finely tuned to give you just the thing that they know you're gonna like. They saw you, tap on that cat video, so here's 15 more cat videos, and they know exactly what it is that you like that's gonna keep you clicking, keep you watching. So imagine a world with, instead, we have algorithms that are designed to, with that much accuracy, to increase your quality of life, to give you a better life, to increase your satisfaction, to increase your pleasure, to increase your enjoyment, to increase your actualization. We can do that, and it's not that hard. It's just we have to step away from all this capitalist brainwashing propaganda and bullshit, this toxic, mad, insane, fucked up world, and build something better. It's not a pipe dream. It's not a crazy far out idea. It should be square one. It should be the base level. It should be taken for granted. It should be obvious. So we can change the world. We can. We have the power to, because this is our world. This is our reality, and we can change it. We just all have to start putting in the work to do it now. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, my friends. I got a little off topic there, but it's really important. Please understand this information, and more will be coming out soon. Look for new videos. And I want to give a big shout out to everyone who supports on Patreon, especially Renaissance Fairy, Trent, Cassidy, Michael, Evie, Alan, Angela, Maria, Brian, Chubby Bunny, High Expectations Counseling, Jordy, and also C. Danny Walker. Thank you so much. I still have to put your name up there. And everyone else, if you enjoy my work, if you feel like you've ever learned something from my work or got something from my work, consider supporting on Patreon. It's what allows me to continue to do my work. And you'll get access to our hidden Discord server, The Citadel, our weekly secret live streams. We're having one right after this, and a lot more. The link will pop up right over here. and it helps out very much. So thank you. I appreciate it.